Hi, and welcome back to the pod. Today we're talking about a 24-year-old forward called Jonathan Afolabi. Born 14th of January 2000 in Tala, Dublin. He started playing with local side Mark Celtic at around 6 years of age, moving on to Shamrock Rovers, then Lured Celtic, and then St Joseph's Boys. To those outside of Ireland, to have that on your CV, your youth CV, is an extensive youth career in Ireland. Lured Celtic has had the likes of Niall Quinn and Damien Duff through their ranks. Shamrock Rovers is the most successful team, of course, in Irish footballing history, current champions. And St Joseph Boys are also a who's who of former and current Irish internationals who learned their skill there. So to say he mixed with the cream of the crop in his youth career in Ireland is very factual, not just at club level, also in the underage ranks. There's a lot of senior internationals as well that he's played with. So all this pedigree accumulated in a move in 2016, so 8 years ago, to Premier League side Southampton. Their academy, aged only 16. There he excelled through the youth ranks, was highly thought of, and was offered a new contract in 2019, but made the decision to move elsewhere to get first team football sooner rather than later. He was debatably on the verge of breaking into that first team anyway, but he decided it was better to move on. Obviously, there would have been perhaps better financial packages on offer elsewhere too, perhaps, but his main focus wasn't money, but on getting first team football week in, week out, football sooner rather than later, as I said. He had other offers in England with Premiership sides, Championship sides, etc., but ultimately was won over by Scottish side Celtic on the 21st of August 2019 as a 19-year-old, signing a 3-year deal. Of course, at Celtic at the time, I believe, was Damien Duff, an idol of his, and he's a Chelsea fan. Jonathan is a Chelsea fan as well, so that would have been something that drew him to Celtic as well. Obviously, at Celtic, there's an Irish connection, and in my opinion, there's just too much made of that. Really, that Irish connection wins over a lot of players. Not too much made of it, but it wins over a lot of Irish players, and they buy into the dream of playing for Celtic, which is a great dream. It is great to play for Celtic, but it's maybe it undercuts other offers on the table for Irish players because Celtic have come in, so it's really a non-brainer then. So with that, there's competition at Celtic. Of course, competition everywhere for a young player. But if you're coming in to Celtic, you don't have a big name behind you. You're not established pro. It's all about the first team and results at Celtic, and maybe harder to break into the first team, though players and Jonathan himself clearly would have had the talent to do it, a big name at youth level, and he'd be confident of breaking into the side and establishing himself right off the bat. This didn't happen straight away, and in January, so the January transfer window, he on the 27th of January 2020, so a few months after what's that, about 5 months after he joined Celtic, just gone 20, went on loan to Dunfermline Athletic in the Scottish Championship, i.e. the second tier in Scotland, until the end of the season, making his first team pro debut there 4 days later, which would have been a big moment for him, and it wasn't a token substitution or late substitution. He started the game, playing 87 minutes and contributed with an assist in a 3-2 win over Queen of the South. So basically, as good a start to your pro career as you could hope for. And again, he's only 20 at this stage. He went on to appear 5 more times for Dunfermline, i.e. 6 times in total, and this isn't what it seems. He played the first 6 games for Dunfermline after he signed for them on loan, and then the season was cancelled, so it wasn't like he just played 6 games in that half a season. he played all the games that were available to him. It was a great start to his pro career, as I said, but the whole thing was cancelled, due to COVID, of course, that dreaded word, but, it would have put a lot of people out, COVID, in every walk of life. It did put us all out, but it couldn't have come at a worse time for a young player starting off his pro career, to be 6 games in and with a lot of minutes in those games, 2 goals to boot, everything's gone perfect, and then this unheard of thing happens and the whole season is scrapped. Like, what's that all about? So if it had continued as impressively as it started at Dunfermline and the season wasn't cancelled, who knows where he would have been today and in August 21, perhaps the first team proper at Celtic, or not too far off. Like, if you imagine if you had continued in that vein, been knocking in the goals with Dunfermline, it would have pushed him into first team contention at Celtic. Who knows, of course, but as it was, he had to sit out competitive football for the next 6 months through no fault of his own, nothing to do with his skills on the field. It's the same for everyone else, of course, but for a player just starting out, as I said, and starting out so well, it would have been a bitter blow in more ways than one to his development and obviously his progression to his ultimate goal of first team football with Celtic. Anyways, it did happen, and that's that. So on the 29th of September 2020, he goes on loan again. So this 6 months after, probably hasn't kicked a lot of football around since then. The isolation and all that at the very beginning of COVID, especially. So on the 29th of September, said 2020, he goes on loan again, and this time to Dundee FC, who were at the time also in the Scottish Championship, but historically, arguably a bigger side than Dunfermline. Makes his debut for them on the 16th of October 2020, i.e. 2.5 weeks after joining, so probably match fitness was an issue because he's not really played anything in 6 months competitively anyway. When he joined, which is completely understandable, but the series of events the previous months, he went on to appear quite regularly for them, circa 22 times in total, with 4 goals in all competitions. They did have a successful season, winning promotion back to the top tier of Scottish football, but he wasn't a starter for a lot of those games. Probably would have liked more minutes as well than he got, more starts, but still very good position to be in for a still only 21-year-old. And again, first full season as a pro is very impressive. First season, clearly only going to get better and better, especially with a full season now behind him. So he's in the driving seat of his career. In the final season of his 3-year contract with Celtic, of course, Celtic are and were a merry-go-round of managers, so you're not really impressing one person. There's a lot of young players there being farmed out. It's all about the first team. A new manager comes in, his first thing is, I've got to start winning, and doing well here in Europe and everywhere else to, warrant my job, basically. So they're really just focusing on the first team. So in the final season of his 3-year contract, he went along 2 more times. Scottish Championship side Ayr United initially until the end of the 21-22 season, with whom he made 16 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. But this was cut short in February 22. Don't really know the reason why. And he then joined the turn of the year he didn't seem to play as much. Then he joined Scottish League 1 side, so 3rd tier side, Airdrieonians, whom he turned out 15 times, 3 goals and 2 assists for the remainder of the season and the remainder of his Celtic contract. So again, 4 loans he went on, they did all go good, but the 6 months out initially because of COVID, that would have been hard to come back from. Obviously, I'm sure on loan in the second tier as well in Scottish football, and soon to be released wasn't where he imagined himself being when he left Southampton. But you can't go back in time, and life choices make life. So via a series of set of other circumstances out of his control, it was where it left him through no real fault of his own. Just basically the luck of the gods in life meant things didn't turn out, and if COVID hadn't happened, hadn't ended his first season in the program prematurely, he could have been in again a completely different scenario at that stage, and he could have been a cult hero for Celtic. Who knows? But you can't go back in time. If he had stuck with Southampton, he could be, a Irish international with loads of caps under his belt. Who knows what could have happened if we all made different choices in the past. So he is where he is, and he's still not in a bad spot. After leaving Celtic, he made the surprise move. Surprising, not for him, of course. He knew exactly where he wanted his career to go and what he was doing. But surprising from a fan point of view. I remember when I heard that he joined Bows, everyone was like, that's great. Like, Bows signing this guy that's on the cusp of, being a top drawer, Irish international, big club in the UK probably side, and he signs for Bows. Brilliant. So he moves to Bows on the 5th of August 2022. Like you'd imagine, he would have had options elsewhere outside of Ireland, and also even in Ireland with the likes of Shamrock Rovers, no doubt, whom he played for before at youth level. He grew up around there. But to Bows he went. Again, to anyone outside of Ireland, the season in Ireland runs the calendar year, so joining in August is the end-ish time of the season of 22, and circa 3 months left in the 2022 season. Sometimes big names, of course, coming back to Ireland are at the end of their career, or if they're in the middle of their career or at the start of their career, they don't pan out as well as you might have thought. Like, they do well, but they're not the superstar that you maybe thought they were. But Jonathan's move to Bows couldn't have gone better in its entirety of his time with Bows. 44 appearances, 21 goals, 6 assists, top goal scorer in the 23 season, and an Irish senior international call-up, which was on merit, not just a token throw a League of Ireland, it's a good headline. It was on merit because he'd scored so many goals and was on fire. With those kind of stats, it would have always been hard to see him staying longer with Bows or even in the League of Ireland, as at 24 the race was on for his signature. I always think it's very hard for a striker forward if he isn't playing and starting week in, week out, as a lot of time it's goals that they are ultimately judged on. But it's hard to get those goals if you're not getting 90 minutes and all, like week in, week out football. Those stats, to get those stats up, if you're coming on for just the last 20-30 minutes in most games, or all games even, it's still giving you less time to get that goal, So the stats are skewed, and people will say, yeah, he's played 10 times, but he's only scored once. Like, how many minutes has he played in those 10 games should be the question. But anyway, that's the way the world is. But he got the best spell of his career at Bows, the best playing time, best goal per game ratio. So he showed his goal prowess as a result, and as I said, he didn't disappoint coming back to Ireland. He was the top billing that everyone was hoping he would be, and the big name that everyone thought he was. He was exactly what it said on the tin. After the entire full 2023 season, with it behind him, playing week in, week out, starting, scoring, he made the move to Belgium on the 29th of December 23 to KV Kortrijk, who were bottom at the time of joining on basically a 2.5 year deal, making his debut circa 3 weeks later. In the remainder of their season, he made 13 appearances, so he joined in January, as I said, end of December, started 3 weeks later, so January to the end of May. He made 13 appearances in all, scoring 1 goal. Again, this is reflective in the minutes he got on the pitch, as he only appeared to have started 4 of those 13 games, and the rest were only circa 20 minutes or less pitch time. So just cameos, more or less. Not enough to show your real worth, and also with each passing game, you'd imagine his confidence understandably was taking a slight bit of a knock. To mention, his first start was where he scored his only goal, but then he had to wait another month or so for his next start. With more starts and minutes, you'd imagine there would have been more goals, as he would have been super confident joining them and in the prime and on fire and in the prime of his craft following his 2023 season with Bows. Kortrijk were, of course, as I said, in relegation battle right up until the end of the season, which probably explains their reluctance to try new things, as their main focus, of course, would have been to stay in the Belgium top flight. So I get it, but perhaps if they had got him into the team sooner, also started him off the bat, perhaps the goals would have come early doors and helped their cause and steered them out of that a lot sooner. But by leaving him 3 weeks until giving him his first real chance, his first game time, and the reduced match time, that no doubt would have stunted his confidence and progress on the pitch and goal prowess. Also his match fitness, but I'm sure they decided and did what they felt was best for their club, and ultimately they stayed up, so perhaps they chose right. Just not how I would have done it. If something isn't working, in my book, then you know that's not working, so try something else. The results aren't coming in. I'd have tried exactly that. I'd have gone with him and put on a proven goal scorer, in-form goal scorer straight away from signing him to try something different. Again, you know what you're doing isn't working, so you might as well try something different. It's not a foolproof plan. It's not definitely going to work, but you see if the goals come, which is the whole reason you bought him, right? So you see if the goals come. He's a goal machine, and at his last club anyway. So as a result, if the goals did come, they would have helped steer him out of trouble. And if after 3, 4, or 5 games it didn't happen straight away, and if it didn't work, just go back to your previous, and you still have 4 months left. But again, who am I to say? This season, as said, they remained in the top flight last season. He's listed as having a knock for the first few matches and hasn't appeared in the last match, so they're back down the wrong end of the table. 13th out of 16. Still a long way to go, only 6 games in so far. Will he stay or will he go? That's the question. Was the question, because he's actually gone on loan now to second division, second tier team in Holland. There was interest from the UK, England. Also, there was a bid from Turkey, whose window is still open until the 13th of September, I believe. So that could have come off, but he's gone on loan to, as I said, the second tier in Holland with Cambuur. Cambuur down the wrong end of the table, only 3 or 4 games in. They've got a couple of weeks now, 10 days more or less, until their next competitive match. Obviously, Holland is a good place for a striker to go because it's easier, perhaps, again, maybe arguably, in my opinion anyway, to score goals there, get the stats up. So basically, it's not a bad move for him. Plays week in, week out, that's the key. Starting games, playing the full 90 minutes, week in, week out. No bench time, no sitting on the sidelines or not starting games. just get straight into it. The club have to have faith in him. Again, the same scenario as when he went to Kortrijk. They're at the wrong end of the table. Again, it's only early doors in the season, but what they've tried so far hasn't worked, so they might as well try what they have now, a proven goal scorer. Get him in the team straight away, playing for the first 10 games. Obviously, if it's not working out for him or the club, then you can reassess your plan. But why would you not try get a proven goal scorer in straight away, give him the time to bed down, a game or two or a few games? I doubt he'd need it. The goals are going to help their cause, get them out of that. Again, it's only early doors in the season. Get them out of the relegation zone. 17th, I think, out of 20 is where they sit at the moment. 10 games time, they could be pushing for promotion if the key ingredient goals are coming, you know. So again, it works for everyone. It works for Cambuur, works for him, works for his current club, Kortrijk. If he does well in the second tier in Holland, he can either go back to Kortrijk, they can bring him back, proven goal scorer, he's on form, get him back in the team. Him personally, why would he probably go back? Probably wouldn't want to. I mean, I don't know him personally, but why would you want to go back somewhere if they didn't have faith in you, and then you've done well and then all of a sudden they've had faith in you? At that stage, he's going to have a year left on his contract, so yeah, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense possibly to go back at that stage to Kortrijk, but it would be an option for them as from a business point of view. They've got a goal scorer, he's on form, you know, that kind of form could get him in touch and distance with the senior international side again. All of a sudden they have an asset that they could sell on for a lot more than they bought. Again, they could get him back in the team to help them, but would he be as interested going back to somewhere where they didn't have faith in him perhaps? And would they bring him back in to do what they did initially and just give him a bit part? It's not going to be benefit to them either. But yeah, if he gets week in, week out football, which I'm sure he will, possibly Cambuur could get promoted, or of course he could get a move to the top division in Holland with a bigger side or a top division side, continue to score. To me, it's a great move. Time will tell, but I'm sure it'll go well for him now. If you liked the video, send us a subscribe, like, comment. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we'll be watching.